This is a review of Game 46 of the 2020-21 Chicago Blackhawks season. Tonight, the Blackhawks fell to the hated Nashville Predators once again by a score of 5-2. But before we get to the review, if you could do me a really big favor, hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Also, hit that notifications bell. That way, you will know exactly when we upload. We will come looking for you. You won't have to come looking for us. And on that note, I will make an apology about not getting the game review for the last game on Saturday out until literally like 30 minutes before the start of tonight's game. I've just had a lot of crap going on here lately, so again, apologies on that. Um, and also, leave us some comments down below if you have any suggestions on stuff you'd like to see, any critiques that you have about the way we discuss the reviews or conduct the reviews. And yeah, if you have any kind of just points that you want to make about the Hawks, their season, or tonight's game. And with that, I will throw it over to Chai Sports fan Joe. Joe, I was drinking tonight.
Yeah, I think I kind of want to as well. I mean, it's just so upsetting because, again, they were right there. The game was there for the taking, down 3-2 going into the third period, hey, you get one, then you can get another. And instead, just mistakes by the defense tonight. I mean, the one, Zadorov and then the one by Keith. But I mean, again, I'm kind of on still steaming over this stupid rule that you have to vacate the ice when you lose your helmet, or you have to go pick it up and put it back on before you can, whatever the heck the rule is. It's ridiculous that Connor Murphy had to vacate the ice while he's defending in his own defensive zone, against a goal. So we basically gave the Predators a free on ice power play because it's not his fault. He lost his helmet and had to leave the ice, and that leads to the goal. And it's just, yeah, it's just a frustrating night to say the least for these guys. I mean, like I said, now it's like our playoff hopes, go from within reach to now being pretty much on life support.
Yeah, I think what's the old saying? They're on the brink. I think that's pretty much where they are. If they lose Wednesday, they're done.
Yeah.
Um, that is literally a must-win game. Um, and my problem, like for everyone on Twitter and Hawks social media that likes to cry about the defense, that's been crying about the defense for the last 5 years, however long it's been. Tonight, it was warranted. Tonight was probably the worst effort defensively all year. Granted, I don't remember much from the early season, so maybe I'm embellishing on that a little bit, but they were awful tonight. And not just one of them, but all of them. So Wyatt Kalynuk went down with a hip injury within about the first 4.5 minutes of the game, didn't return. We don't really know what the story with him. Even we don't even really even know if it's day to day at this point. We just know he's was out for tonight, couldn't come
Yeah,
back.
you just hope he's okay. I mean, yeah, and if he can't play, and I know, we were talking about this before we jumped on here, Kyle. I mean, I would think now the Blackhawks are kind of forced into a position that they have to dress seven defensemen for these next couple of games against Nashville, because you can't run into this again. You can't
Yeah,
afford to.
yeah, and even on that note, I think it's at this point, you know, even like we said, even though they're on the brink and they still have one game before they're really out of it, to me, I mean, they are kind of out of it. I mean, it's going to take an act of sure God to because now we haven't even brought this up, but I'm sure anybody that knows or follows the team knows this. Dallas jumped the Hawks tonight as well, so the Hawks are now in sixth place in the division. Is likely that's where they would finish. I think the way the standings look, it would take a pretty Herculean effort for either Columbus or Detroit, who are both tied now for the last spot in the division. I think Detroit's actually jumped Columbus in win percentage, so they've actually jumped out of last place. Who saw that coming? And yeah, look, the defense tonight, I think look, we've talked about the offense all season about how awful it's been. I don't think there's anything new there. But the defense tonight was just atrocious. Duncan Keith was taking stupid penalties. And look, I'm going to tell you right now, I know Hawks fans and any fans of their home team always kind of go to the defense of their players. Duncan Keith was taking liberties with Nashville tonight, and he was frustrated. It was very obvious. So they had every right to be pissed off at Keith. And he took another penalty. Everyone, has complained about Zadorov taking penalties. Well, Duncan Keith had the 4-minute minor the other night. He took another 2-minute minor tonight. He was on the ice, I think, for 3 of the goals that they scored, one of which was scored because he made a turnover by their defenseman, sent their defenseman on a
Right,
breakaway.
and that's kind of what makes it so much harder because Duncan Keith, you're a veteran defenseman. You've been around this league so long. You've won a Conn Smythe. You've won 3 cups. To make that kind of decision, I mean, that's what just kind of really just I think blows my mind and the mind of Hawks fans everywhere is like because that's a rookie defenseman kind of move. The turnover he committed to Ekholm tonight,
Yeah, well,
just
I
you
think
know,
this goes to coaching, which we'll get to in a second. But yeah, like I think Keith has been overplayed. We've talked about that. I think he also overthinks because again, Kalanick is out at this point, and even though Kalanick's a rookie, like the defense utterly collapsed when a rookie who's only been in the league for literally 10 games goes out of the lineup. Like that either says this defense, the veteran defense on this team is not very good, or it says that Kalanick's very good. Uh, or maybe somewhere in the middle, I
I
guess.
mean,
But
I don't know because yeah, it's like you look at your veterans are Zadorov, Keith, Murphy, and Zadorov, Keith, Murphy, and Dahan. So
yeah, and Calvin DeHorrible, had returned to the lineup tonight after missing the last, what was it, 2 games? I think, being out of the
yeah,
lineup, and he's still horrible. Uh, I think he took another stupid penalty. He had a turnover in that third period. He had multiple turnovers, but the one in the third that wound up in the back of the net. He's on the boards instead of clearing the puck up the boards. He throws it to the middle of the ice, and ping, bang, bong, it's in the back of the net. And look, Kevin Lankinen was there's nothing he could do tonight. Like that was, rudimentary. That's just the
yeah,
way it
it's
is.
probably what 4? Would you say 4 of the 5 goals that he
Yeah,
let up?
well, really all 5, but I guess you could throw one of them, where he was deep in his net, but all 5 of them were mistakes by the defense, but
Yeah.
or missed coverages, some sort of mistake by the defense, whether it be turnover, missed coverage, or whatever. The Murphy helmet debacle, um,
Oh
like
yeah. So,
it was just the perfect storm, and then you got a coach that's he's in over his head. Like maybe one day he'll be a good coach, but I'm not willing to sit here and I'm tired of it. Every time they have a big game, they lay an egg and they play like shit. And then he comes out in the post game and goes, well, I really liked about 3/4 of our game. We played really well there for about 3/4 of the game. Where? When?
well, right, and even playing well for 3/4 of the game is not playing well for the full game. And when you didn't play well, I think DeBrincat was quoted as saying, however much time they didn't play well, the puck was in the back of their own net, and it was times four.
Yeah,
So
4 minutes basically, I think is what he said. But
right,
yeah, look, Jeremy, I know you're on Twitter. I know I've tagged you on shit. I don't know if you pay attention to any of this or if you listen to us or anything, but if you do, what the hell are you doing? We were just talking before. You had Gaudette on the first line. Gaudette literally just got to the team like 3 days ago and just had COVID. Everyone's talking about, oh my God, the Vancouver Canucks, the whole team's got COVID. They need extra time to play and get ready to go. You you know what this reminds me of? Do you remember last year and was it game 5 against Vegas? He fucking threw Quenneville up
well,
with
yeah, John
Taves.
Quenneville is playing on with Jonathan Taves in an elimination game, right?
Yeah, against Vegas in game 5. This is similar because you needed to win tonight. So your idea was to go and play Gaudette on the first line. And as Joe mentioned, boy, that really worked out real well in the whole 7 minutes and 40 seconds that he played. I don't know. Apparently, it lasted a whole one shift for you. And then, like, what? Again, Joe made a point, which we'll bring up. But why? You've had all season to pull a goalie, and you do it now when the game's over in the third period. You're down 3 goals against this. You ain't scoring 4 goals against this team with 18 minutes left. Are you out of your mind? With this team, you
Yeah, and
can't even score 5-on-5.
right, and that's I think it was more like I know we had talked about it, Kyle. It was more just to say, okay, Subban hadn't given up any against Detroit the previous game he was out there. If he doesn't give up any at this point, and there was still plenty of time in that third period, I think there was over 15 minutes when he came into the game. And if he doesn't give up a goal here, then I think I got to know my starter for Wednesday has to be Malcolm Subban, which you and I think both agree that's what's going to happen.
Oh yeah, and it's a great opportunity for Malcolm Subban, who has barely played at all the last month, to take the starter's job from Lankinen. Because if he can win Wednesday, he's going Friday too.
Yeah, I think so. Mm-hmm.
So and again, that's not Kevin's fault. It really isn't. Kevin's still your guy, but like you got to ride the right hand or the hot hand at this point. And
Yeah.
I just I like a lot of people are, I think, kind of falling slightly off the Lankinen train. And it's like, what, Lankinen didn't do anything wrong tonight, but have a bad defense. Like,
Right.
and he had made big saves tonight. It is what it is. And like I said, we've crapped on the offense all year. Where's Kubalik? It's amazing to me that people like the beat writers like John Dietz that literally are on their knees for this guy, literally since he came into the league. Whenever he disappears like this, nothing. Nothing. Like, I'm beginning to wonder if Kubalik has this guy's sex tape, like, or something. Because
We got pictures of him with a goat or something. Yeah.
yeah, as soon as Kubalik scores, oh my God, he's the greatest player ever. He's the next Jaromir Jagr. And then Kubalik will score like 2 or 3 goals in 4 or 5 games. And then all of a sudden, Kubalik does what he's doing now. He's pointless in 5 games. And nothing. Crickets. Nobody wants to criticize the guy. Same with Dylan Strome. Although I think a lot more fans are willing to criticize Dylan Strome. But where are these guys? Those 2 guys are making almost $7 million.
And I think, Kyle, a lot of them too are, these, especially probably more so the beat writers than anybody else. They're going to say, well, let's just give Kubalik the benefit of the doubt this year because Taves isn't there to center him and create chances for him like he did last year.
Well, I
So
mean, Kubalik's actually on pace to replicate his season from last year. The problem is all of his points are on the power play, and which is different from last year, right? Because last year most of his points were at 5-on-5.
yeah,
So that's a a more negative trend, I would say. And it's not, I don't, maybe negatives is not the right word because you want to be able to score on the power play, obviously. But you need, like, if you're going to, if he's a $6 million man, like John Dietz claims he is, then he's got to be able to score at 5-on-5. Alex DeBrincat is on pace for about just under 40 goals. He is on pace for about 38 or 39 goals in a regular 82 game season.
I was going to say, is that in a regular
Yeah.
season? Yeah.
Yeah. And on top of that, he's got what, 25 assists. So he'd be on pace for about 40 assists, let's say. So that's an 80-point season, almost a point per game player. And he's getting $6 million. And that's what you're claiming Kubalik is, who has, I think, 29 points. Like, just think about that. And DeBrincat's playing defense now.
Yeah.
Like, the difference in that, like, you wanted to pay these guys the same amount of money, and DeBrincat has almost as many assists or goals, take either one, as Kubalik has points. Like, that's a huge thing. And that's what the Blackhawks don't have. Again, not every night is the defense going to be this bad. It hasn't been for most of the year. Like, where you could just sit there and go, yeah, the defense was fucking terrible tonight. But another thing, like with Colleton, he doesn't call anybody out. Why?
Yeah, he's not that type of coach. He's not to say he's got to be John Tortorella and, go berserk.
No, but
You know,
Quenneville wasn't that either. But you knew when he was pissed.
right, right. But yeah, like with Colleton, yeah, I agree. There's no fire. There's no, coming out like with a pissed off, demeanor or attitude or just, I mean, do something. I'm maybe he does it behind closed doors in the locker room. I don't know, but do something to fire these guys up, or just, I mean, guys, this is your playoff lives you're playing for here. And
I don't know. I think it's really hard. I link it back to the Savard days. How old was Savard 50 yet when he was coaching, or was he like late 40s?
yeah, I would say he's probably, I don't know, but probably late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah, I was thinking he was like 48-ish, but I'm not positive. But I kind of feel like that's this, where, and Savard was like Kane's brother. They were party, and Savard himself, I think, was a party animal when he was younger. Probably still might be. But that's what Kane was known as when he came into the league. And that's why he got in so much trouble when he was
Well,
younger.
I did like, though, Savard was passionate. I mean, because I don't know if you remember his commit to the Indian speech,
Yeah.
that he made, his rant or whatever it was. But he showed fire and passion. So, and he called guys out when they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing. But Colleton's like just Mr. Mellow, like, you just, maybe it's just because, like I said, we're so used to Quenneville, but I don't know.
Yeah, he's just not the guy. Dude, he's our age. Like, I just can't imagine being, I mean, Kane and Taves and I don't know, Connolly. I mean, Connolly's younger than we are, which is frightening. But like, just Kane. Kane's our age. Like, I can't imagine having this guy who's 30, I think he's 35, 36, as the coach. Like, he's 4 years older. Like, and barely played in the NHL. Most of his experience is either in the AHL or overseas in Europe, which is a different game. And uh, and then Sheldon Brookbank. I mean, and where's Crawford in all of this? Like, the whole coaching structure to me is just I don't know. Like that to me, and I think as you said, to everybody has to change from Colleton to the whole staff. And they need to bring in not necessarily a Tortorella or a Gerard Gallant, but they need to bring somebody in that's more of a veteran established coach, especially if you're going to have all these fucking young players. I don't like Bowman has this affinity that Colleton is a communicator or whatever with all these young players. How? Because he's their friend? Because he's like their little older brother? What?
I don't know, but I think I knew coming into this, and maybe Bowman maybe even knows it too. To give a guy only a 2-year contract, and I think it's not to say he has confidence in him. I mean, he's going to say that because he has to, but we're in a rebuilding or a retooling or whatever the heck you want to call it. So why go out and get an experienced or a veteran coach or whoever kind of coach to lead a team that we know is not on the cusp of being a consistent contender yet? This I
Yeah,
kind of
but at the
It
same time,
reminds me a little bit of kind of like what Rick Renneria, for those that are familiar with baseball, like what Rick Renneria was when the Cubs hired him, and then when the White Sox hired him, he's a band-aid. And that's what I think Jeremy Colleton is. He is a band-aid to build to when the Hawks do become contenders. I will be very, very surprised if Colleton is still around. So
yeah, but like I guess he was more of a I think he's more of a band-aid for the White Sox because like the thing and this is my point that I was going to go to. Joe Madden became available was a stunning event. And
right.
within 24 to 48 hours ESPN was already in on it that Epstein was going to sign him and they
Yeah.
were going to fire Renneria.
But
And
at that point though, the Cubs were on the cusp of being a contender because they had gone out.
well, not really though cuz they hadn't even had 2015 yet. Like wasn't that the year they drafted Bryant?
I think so, but I think maybe Epstein kind of had the sense like, you know what, we are on the cusp, and this is the guy to take us to the next level, which I think that's what he said. So, and I think when the Hawks are on the cusp of contending, they're going to need a coach to take them from where they are now to the next level. And that's, we all know, I think at least 99.9% of Hawks fans know that's not Jeremy Colleton.
Yeah, well, I just think if the guy that you want's available, you have to go get him when he's available. Like you can't wait because you think it's gonna be a year or two before you're competitive. Like I guess that's my point. Like if Gerard Gallant's the guy you want, you gotta go get him. Like and why not Bruce Boudreau? Like
I just, with Bruce Boudreau, though, the guy hasn't won. So, I
in
mean,
the
he gets
playoffs,
in.
yes, but in the regular
So,
season, he's got like the best coaching record of all time.
well, right. But, again, he could have the best regular season record ever, but it all surmounts to what have you done for me in the playoffs? And Bruce Boudreau has proven he can't win in the postseason. So, and for whatever reason that is, I don't know why his teams kind of just, have dominant regular seasons and can't win in the postseason. I don't
I
know
don't
why that
know. I don't
is.
know how much I read into that, but either way, but that's like my point, right? Like Seattle hasn't hired a coach yet. They're going to.
Do you think they
Buffalo's.
hire Gallant? You think they hire Gallant?
I, if you're Gerard Gallant, is that the place you want to go? Like that's my question. I
Well,
think,
because he's got experience. I'm just saying, working with an expansion team when Vegas hired him.
yeah, but like I don't know. Have they seriously? I would have thought they would have hired somebody by now.
I thought so too, but I maybe I
Have
don't
they?
know.
Are we just
And
morons
who's
and don't
their who's their
remember?
isn't their general man? Who's their general manager?
Ron
Francis.
Francis is their
Yeah.
general manager.
So,
I don't
but
think they've hired a coach yet, but I would have thought they would have wanted their coach when they were, uh, Yeah, they haven't hired one yet. I would have thought they would have wanted their coach for their expansion draft talks
Well, I
because
mean, then I would imagine they're probably on the cusp of, I would think, hiring somebody. I would say you're right. They're probably going to hire somebody before the expansion draft. But
well,
I,
and I know Rod Brindamore was a potential candidate that was being thrown around because of him and Francis being so close. Because wasn't Francis the GM in Carolina when they brought Brindamore in? And
I think
plus, like I
so.
said, they played together.
Yeah, yeah,
But I don't know. Like, so like Claude Julian's available. He's got a championship with Boston. Gallant's available. Boudreaux's available. I mean, shit, if they could get Brindamore, I,
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Was he is he still under contract in Carolina, or
Well, that's what I'm wondering. His contract must be up at the end of this season.
and if you're Carolina, how do you not bring him back?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
And they're only paying him $600,000, which is one of the lowest in the league. So that's not gonna fly.
yeah,
Uh, so as of March 30th, yeah, he doesn't have a new contract yet. Yet, and that's from Tracy Myers actually.
okay.
Um, yeah, I don't know, but yeah, if he's available,
Which I just, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of throwing that out the window because I don't see any way Carolina lets him walk, especially, he won a cup in Carolina. He's kind of like been a hurricane, and he's done such a phenomenal job coaching them. I mean, look, they're at the top of the standings for the most part when he's been behind the bench. So I don't see them letting him get away. I'd be very shocked.
well, I mean, I he, he's he's got an ego though. And like I think would you say he's one of the best coaches in the NHL?
I mean, I wouldn't say he's like, I mean, he's a good coach, but I mean, obviously, I mean, he's doing a great job. But now, if he,
Is this his
you know,
fourth year? I wonder what's his coaching record.
because I mean, look at didn't the Hurricanes? I mean, they upset the Capitals. Was that the year before the bubble?
This is his third season. He's coached 193 games. He's got 113 wins,
So
64 losses, 16 in overtime, a 627 winning percentage.
that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So
And he's only 50. So, uh, yeah. Well, I'm trying to. Did they make the playoffs his first season?
because what was that was his first season when they upset the Caps after
I
2018?
think it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because last year it was the bubble.
Yeah, right. I think it was the year before. It was 2019 when
Then they
the
beat. So they beat the Capitals and then they beat the Islanders, right?
yes, and then they lost to Boston in the finals, or in the Eastern Conference final rather. So they got swept by Boston. Yeah, I remember. So and then the bubble, they did they win their first round series, but then lost their second?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember who they played. I think they might have got Tampa in the second round and Tampa took them out.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
But I don't remember who they played in the first round.
Was it the Islanders? No, it was. I don't think it was the Islanders.
Well, Montreal took out Pittsburgh. And who did was it Washington again?
It may have been. Let me try to see.
Not that it's necessarily relevant, but
Oh, you know what? I think it was. Was it Boston?
could have been.
I think it was. I'm looking here. I think it was Boston. Yeah, well, the Bruins beat them 4-1.
Oh, is that their second round opponent?
I think so, because it was no, it was they lost in the first round.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So it was number 4 Bruins, number 5 Hurricanes. Bruins win 4-1. So
Yeah, so he took him to the Eastern Conference Final 2 years ago, and they aren't don't they have the best record right now in the division?
I think, yeah, because did they beat? I don't know if they beat Tampa. They were playing
Not
Tampa.
that again, not that it matters. It's they're all within like 3 points of each other, but yeah.
Yeah, they lost.
Um,
Well, they lost to Tampa tonight in overtime. So I think Tampa retook the top spot tonight.
uh, well, is this not updated? Let me see here.
Or I think, yeah, they're 1 point back.
Yeah,
Tampa.
but Carolina's got a game in hand,
Yeah. So
so yeah. Um, yeah, that'll be interesting to see who wins the division. It's probably between Carolina and Tampa, but Florida's there. They're kind of behind the other two because the other two got games in hand, but we'll see.
right.
Um, yeah. So back to the Hawks and their disaster. Um, they need offense. They need top six offense. They need to get their young defensemen to develop. So I think one thing that we actually talked about, I guess it doesn't matter if they play seven defensemen, but let's say they don't play seven defensemen. Would you sit DeHaan for Mitchell and Bodan?
I would, but I mean, I would think at that, like I said, at this point, you got to play 7 defensemen, especially because you can't risk, playing against in these must-win games. And if God forbid, another instance happens like what happened tonight when you lose a defenseman and you're trying to play with only 5, it's not a recipe for success. So
Yeah, it was just a frustrating night tonight all around between the bucket problem with Murphy to Keith kind of running around being stupid to the defense in general being shitty to Kalanick being injured to the offense continuing to just shit. So I don't know. Suter did pick up an assist. I thought that so that's I guess maybe a bright spot that he's continuing to produce the last little while here. Kampf finally scored. Finally, Kane picked up an assist. DeBrincat had a goal, and Gaudette got his first point with Chicago. And again, in an entire 7 minutes and 40 seconds. And I think that goes to what we've been talking about with the seven defensemen. If you're only going to play that guy 7 minutes, just play the fucking seventh defenseman because you're just wasting a roster spot at that point. Um, yeah, I think we've covered most everything. Subban probably starts Wednesday. I'd be stunned if he doesn't.
right. Yep.
So, yeah, do you have anything else that I'm not thinking of to
No, and I think we just again, I think what needs to happen to Wednesday, you have to try to get
Oh,
either the
they
first.
got to score first.
You need to start playing with a lead
Yeah.
because it seems every game. I mean, I don't think have they said that any game or the last 3 was it. I don't know what it was, but have they led against the Predators at all in their last? I think it was 5 games against them.
I think maybe once, and it was
So
short-lived.
yeah. So I think they've only scored first in one of the games. So
I will say this
that's
hilariously. I just saw this hilariously. As horrible as the defense was, the penalty kill was 5 for 5 again
yeah.
after going 6 for 6 the other night.
So yeah, I guess that's the one bright spot too.
I
But
guess.
I don't. But yeah, it's like we have got to get on the board first against this team. You cannot allow them to get the first goal on Wednesday. So, and I mean, again, just limiting these costly mistakes. So you got to stay. I mean, even though our penalty killers have been good, we still have to try to do our best to stay out of the box. So
Yeah, well, like I said, Keith and DeHaan both took stupid penalties, so that's 2 right there.
yeah,
And you would have you would have rather had those 2 idiots not done that, and Murphy gotten a penalty for the helmet thing.
yeah.
Like,
So, but yeah, and I think referring back to that, and I know we talked about it. I think the league has got to make a change to that rule
yeah, so we
because
actually talked about what we would change it to, and I think we agreed that if you're in the neutral zone or if you're in the offensive zone and your helmet comes off, then the rule stays the same. You have to go to the bench or you get called for a penalty. But if you're in the defensive zone, they have to call the play dead, which would pretty much, I mean, technically it's not a rule, but most officials call the play dead when the goalie's helmet comes off. That's the other thing. So, yeah, explain this to me, Joe. How is it not a rule that if the goalie's like mask strap or whatever and his helmet comes loose, play doesn't have to stop? But if a defenseman's helmet or any player's helmet comes off, they have to go to the bench. Does that make any fucking
no,
sense?
that's what I'm saying. It's like, because it's like, yeah, because don't they blow the when that happens, don't they blow the play dead when a goaltender loses, like a strap comes loose or his helmet, obviously his helmet comes.
They most of them do, but that's my point is technically they don't have to. Like it's not a
Okay.
rule.
Okay. Well, then
So
I
if
know.
that like if there's not a rule for that, then why is there a rule for this?
Yeah, that's what I'm. Yeah, I agree. So I think that it's just like you said. If it's in the defensive zone, a player loses their helmet. Okay, you got to blow the play dead.
Well, yeah, unless it's yeah, so again, so if it had happened to a Nashville player in this instance, the play wouldn't be called dead
Yeah, well,
because
right.
they're in their offensive zone.
If you're the defensive player in
Yeah,
in your own zone, then
right.
that's when you do it. Yeah. So
So yeah, I don't maybe that's too complicated for them to think of. I don't know.
yeah.
It
So
took us only 30
because,
seconds,
like I
but
said, you're giving then the team that's it was like in essence you're giving the Predators a free on ice, basically on ice live power play because of
yeah, it's like a
Connor Murphy.
10-second power play.
Yeah, because of Connor Murphy losing his helmet for that wasn't his fault, which is it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know. Or well, even so, it wouldn't matter. I was gonna say if they still made the player come off, like if they allowed a sixth attacker to come off while he was leaving the ice or something, so you could immediately get another player out there
Yeah.
without them getting penalized. But that's to me, that's too convoluted. Just blow
Right.
the goddamn play dead. Like,
Right. Right. So,
yeah. So we'll
but
see what they do there.
right.
Also, was interesting. I think I didn't see this, but Murphy said they I think kicked it off is what he said,
Oh,
or at least knocked it off. They knocked his helmet off, I guess. But I think he said, or maybe I'm imagining things, but I know he said they knocked it off, but I was thinking he specifically said they kicked it off. But I don't know how they were doing that because he was upright in the play. So again, I don't know. But awful game all the way around between stupid rules to stupid plays to stupid decision making, both on the bench and on the ice. Uh, Brutal. And it's becoming a trend in games that the Hawks have to win. So to be very curious, Wednesday's going to be very curious because Nashville has to know, hey, we can put these guys away. Like Chicago, like they're on the Blackhawks are literally on the ropes. They're like the Blackhawks are on the second rope sliding down to the floor.
Yeah,
So
right.
so
So
we'll see if they
they're
can.
gonna have to. Yeah, the Hawks are gonna have to throw everything they got at them on Wednesday because, yeah, like you said, this is a game you just can't afford to lose. So
Nope, and that that now we're looking at the Detroit game that they were terrible in. That, and that's my thing with Colleton. Like he in the first game against Detroit on, was it Thursday, I think, right? Where he said, "Well, I liked our game." And then Saturday he comes out and he goes, "Well, I actually thought we played better Thursday, even though we had a 4-0 shutout." What? Like, and then tonight, oh yeah, I liked 3/4 of our game for the most part. We proved that we could do what it takes to win. You did. I just,
okay.
and like, even I was watching him. Have you, like, does he look more like his anxiety's through the roof?
I just feel like he's a guy that's just
I mean,
he's
he's
got
in
that
over his head,
the mantra
obviously.
that he's just like he's just there. He's there to be there. I don't know. That's kind of the vibe I get off of him.
He
But
was like rubbing his hands together the whole interview tonight, or at least to start. And like he was like sitting at an angle, and I don't know. It looks like he needs a haircut. It's like he looks like a, what was the kid's name from Disturbia on house arrest? He's
oh,
like
Shia
itch.
LaBeouf.
Yeah, he's like itchy. And by the way, kids, if you haven't seen that movie, it's a real good movie. You should go watch it. Um, I don't know if it's on Netflix. I doubt it, but check it out. It's one of his actual good movies. Back
Yeah,
before, like, he did it. What was it about? Did he do Transformers yet? I think he had just done the first Transformers. I can't remember. We're getting
yeah,
off
maybe.
topic.
Yeah.
But
Right.
yeah. So again, Hawks lose 5-2. Bad game. Huge game, season deciding game coming up here on Wednesday. Uh we expect Subban to start. I think we both would like to see 7 defensemen go. And yeah, with that, that'll wrap this review up. Um, and again, as I have continued to say, take care of yourselves, get your vaccines if you want one, uh, check in on your friends, family, do all that fun stuff. And we will talk to you all on Thursday morning. And it'll either be a very sombering talk or a very jubilant one. We'll have to see.
We shall see.
Yeah. So until then, everybody, again, though, I do apologize about not getting the review out until literally 30 minutes before tonight's game. It's been a long, like, 2 days. So uh, hopefully that doesn't ever happen again. But yeah. So we'll see you guys Thursday morning. Until then, everybody, relax. If we don't make the playoffs, it doesn't matter. At least we're having this conversation, which we didn't think we would be having. So positive, right? Uh, yeah, we'll see you all Thursday morning, and let's go Hawks.
All right. Thanks again, everybody, and go Hawks.